I've just spent the most part of an hour listening to the sentencing of the two 16 years old boys who stabbed to death another 14 years old boy called Killian or Killan. I'm not sure what his name is again. And I've listened to the entire sentencing. I've been following the news for a while. I'll just tell you the story quickly. And I'm not sure if it will fit into the usual 3 minutes shot. If it doesn't, I'll break it into two parts and then you be able to catch up the next part. But on 7th of January, it was, I think, a young boy, Killian, 14 years old boy, boarded a bus somewhere in London. And according to eyewitness, as soon as he stepped on the bus, he looked through the window as if suspecting something was going to happen, and then went and sat. So these double-decker buses went to the end and sat down at the back. And not quite 20 minutes after he boarded, two other boys boarded and walked straight towards him, armed with heavy machetes. You can see the picture, and started, stabbing him. He was heard screaming and calling for his mom and calling for help. Uh, pe- Utter chaos. People were running and shouting. This was in broad daylight in a public bus with people uh, in the bus. And the video showed this 16 years old boys, two boys who were stabbing a fellow boy, fellow human to death, actually laughing and smiling as they were doing this thing and as this boy was crying for help. And after a long time of screaming and crying for help, I think they got what they thought they wanted, and they all ran out. People tried to help Killian. They tried to stop the bleeding, but unfortunately he died. And according to the report, these two boys went from that point, walked somewhere, discarded the knives. One of them discarded the knife in a river, and then they called their mom to come and pick them and take them home, which obviously she did. I don't know if the mom knows where they were and what they were doing, but the mom came, picked them, and took them home. And according to the reports and the evidence that was submitted to the police, the Snapchat video of these boys, 3 days after that, would show them smoking and, showing how tough they were and laughing and just having fun, not bothered that they had, taken a complete human, another life. And they eventually were arrested. And I've just listened to the sentencing. And for me, I think this is a story of three victims. One, unfortunately, doesn't have a second chance, dead and gone. The other two, hopefully, if things work out, they might have a second chance, but they've gotten a life sentence. And I personally think their whole life is gone. And so a lot of people might not agree with me on the aspect of three victims, but I personally believe that these are three victims. Um, and I'll explain that shortly. Now, these 16 years old boys, according to this judgment that was read by the judge, had a long history of crimes, armed robbery, drug dealing, possession of knives and arms, arrested severally, charged rehabilitation, all sorts of things to try to help them, but to no avail. 16 years old boys. And when I see there are three victims, some of the things that came across loud and clear was the things around parental failure, one of the major failures. Two, the system strongly failed them. And the parental failure aspect of it um, goes all the way back to the fact that the parents, according to these statements, were immigrants, struggled with a lot of things, financial situations. As someone who came to this country, I understand how difficult it might be, language barrier, all sorts of challenges that the parents would have faced. And that obviously impacted all these children. And that's where they found themselves. The system also, which is designed to, considering the number of times these boys have been arrested, that would have been able to rehabilitate them and, if possible, take them from the street and make sure they get help before they are reintegrated or released back into the system. That also failed us and them. And so we have a situation where three lives have been destroyed. And what I intend to quickly seize this opportunity to do is to talk to parents. As a parent myself, the parental aspects of the conversation um, is a bit difficult for me to say, but I have to say it because it's actually very difficult to parent people. I work with teenagers and with young people every day, and I know how difficult it is to work with them and to help them oftentimes, because at that age a lot of them believe they know exactly what they're doing. They think you, as a parent, you're archaic, you're old fashioned, you don't know what's in vogue and stuffs like that. And so I understand the struggle. But where some parents fail is that thing where you see clear signs and you insist on helping them. You need to understand the limit of how much help you can offer as a parent. And you need to know when to seek help. Some of those helps, I understand the constraints around finance and time and all of these other things. But it's teaching time, they say, saves nine. If you think your effort has failed, which oftentimes is the case, not every young person trusts their parents enough to be able to confide in them and stuff. Get help. If you can't get professional help where you pay for someone to help, there are loads of people offering free mentorship to young people. Because what happens to some of these young people is they don't find purpose early. And there's this saying where if you don't know where you're going, anywhere you get to just looks like it. And that's the situation for a lot of these young people. So please, by all means, find help for them as fast as you can. Get in touch with me and I'll see how I can help. But here are a few signs to look out for in case you want to pretend, because I think it's very difficult for your child or for your young person to be going through, to be in this level of, violence, and for you not to see. But in case you don't see, look out for things like inconsistency in their behavior. When they start using drugs, which oftentimes they do, you'll see the symptoms: lack of sleep, unnecessary anger, you know, unpredictable movements here and there. Those are things that begins to tell you that this young person is out of kilter, if I may say. And then what can you do when you find some such situations, even before you start looking for professional help? One thing is, some parents are very quick to start criticizing and attacking and being very loud and violent about how you attack them. No, the best way to start is to control your anger and your emotions. And some of the things you would hear would sound very crazy, but that ability to listen. And if you need to go and cry indoors, you should. But while talking to them, try not to be judgmental. Try to listen to them and show some empathy. Because oftentimes when you do that, you start getting to the roots of the problem. Because most of this violence actually is a symptom of something deeper, not always what you're dealing with. So I would recommend, as a parent, stop being judgmental. Listen to these young people. Also, spend more time with these young people in their daily activity. When last have you taken your young person out on something they love to do? Yeah. If they love football, have you put any effort in maybe going to watch a live football with them, or watching some football somewhere and talking to them and trying to befriend your young person? Yeah, those are the kind of things I'm talking about. But please, the long and short of what I'm saying is these three lives have been ruined, some permanently, some with a slim chance of recovery. We can learn a few lessons from that. And if there's any other thing, anything I want you to remember about this video is that you should seek help quickly for your young person. I don't know what your experience is, but let me know. Do you have experiences to share as per this kind of things with your young person? Like I said, I'm just a message away. Let me know, and we might be able to help you. Thank you.